The story begins with a large airplane flying over the ocean. Outside, there was a storm. The wind was strong and everything felt quite terrifying. Inside the plane, a girl was sitting with a machine gun in her hand. Suddenly, the storm intensified so much that the plane lost its balance. It lost control and, moments later, crashed into the sea. Many years after this incident, we are shown the shore of a beautiful island. Some people were scuba diving. Here, we meet Jerry, a scuba instructor. When he came out of the water, his boss started scolding him for being late. Jared got angry and pushed his boss straight into the water. In another part of the city, Jared's girlfriend, Sam, is shown. When Sam finished work, she went to Jared. Jared was bailing water out of his boat at the time. They were facing some financial difficulties. Sam told him that no matter how poor he was, or that he rode around on a beat-up scooter with a tattered jersey, she loved being with him. At that moment, Jared told Sam something else. He was going to look for a hidden treasure in the ocean. After the last storm, a diver had found a golden antique item underwater, which he sold to become quite rich. Jared had the same hope. Just then, Jared injured himself while bailing water. Sam smiled, came over, and comforted him. At that moment, a large yacht passed by them. A man from the yacht shouted, "Jared!" Sam looked at the yacht and asked who he was. Jared replied that it was George. George shouted back that he too was heading to a deep water spot to find treasure. Then George asked Jared if he would like to work with him. After a little thought, Jared said yes, but laid down some conditions. He said a proper contract would be made and the deal would be 50-50. Half for George, half for him. George didn't like these terms and sailed away in his yacht. After this, Jared and Sam were driving in the car, and Jared told Sam that he would never work under anyone again. He had once worked for George, but George got richer while Jared stayed right where he was. The next day, Derek and his girlfriend Amanda also arrived on the island. Derek and Jared were childhood friends. They were very excited to see each other. After this, they all went out to have fun. Derek showed everyone his beachside house and explained that he had gotten a criminal client released from jail, and in exchange, the client had given him the house for a few days. A private boat also came with the house. Hearing this, Jared's eyes lit up. This boat was perfect for their work. Then the four of them, Jared, Sam, Derek, and Amanda, took the boat and headed out to sea. Everyone put on scuba gear and jumped into the water. Down below, they were having fun and playing. Suddenly, Jared's watch slipped off his hand and started sinking. He asked Sam for a mask and fins and said he would go down and get his watch. While going down, Jared's hand hit a heavy black rock. He picked up the rock and brought it to the surface. Showing it to everyone on the boat, he said it was no ordinary rock. In the old days, such stones were used as markers. He suggested they all go back down. Maybe they would find something else. Following this, everyone descended into the water. Below, they found some old artifacts. They brought them one by one onto the boat. Then, Jared found an old dagger. Its scabbard was gold, and the handle was studded with diamonds. Jared knew the dagger would be worth a fortune. Now everyone's interest intensified. Then, Jared saw a crashed airplane underwater. This was the same plane that had crashed at the beginning of the story. The four of them went near the plane. When Amanda peered inside, she saw a corpse. Its face was completely decomposed due to the water and the passage of time. She got scared and immediately swam back up. The remaining three then went inside the plane. There, they found red packets. Derek tore open a packet and it contained powder. But this was no ordinary powder. It was cocaine. The entire plane was filled with cocaine. Derek took one packet and returned to the boat. A little later, Sam saw the packet and was about to throw it into the sea. Derek stopped her, but by then, Jared had returned. Without saying a word, he took out the golden dagger, cut the packet, and dumped all the cocaine into the sea. That night, Derek asked Jared if he truly believed there could be treasure there. Sam explained that big storms often stir up the seabed, bringing hidden things to the surface. Jared said a big whirlwind had passed through a few days ago, perhaps unearthing many valuable items. Sam also mentioned that if someone finds a treasure or valuable goods, they have to file a legal claim. Now Sam stated that it wouldn't be easy to go back to that spot. They would need some equipment and a sturdier boat. But then Derek remembered he knew a man named Basil who could give them money. Everyone agreed to only tell someone when the time was right. Following this, they went to a marine supply shop to buy the boat and other gear. The shopkeeper showed them the items they wanted and quoted $30,000. Hearing this, everyone's mood soured. Derek explained that he had lost everything in his last mission and was now broke. The next day, somehow, they managed to pool some money, buy a few things, and return to the crash site. Jared and Derek went underwater to clear the wreckage. Meanwhile, Amanda secretly entered the plane. Things became difficult when her oxygen hose was cut. Back on the surface, when Jared asked Derek about Amanda, Derek replied, "I thought she was with you." Jared immediately became alert. He took a fresh oxygen tank and went into the plane. In a corner of the plane that wasn't flooded, he saw Amanda. It was difficult for her to breathe in that small space. Jared angrily asked what she was doing there. Amanda said she came to look for him, but Jared saw through her lie. Without saying anything, he took her out and brought her back to the boat. Everyone aborted the mission and returned to the island. They then chemically treated and cleaned the artifacts they had recovered from the sea. When the first artifact emerged from the chemical bath, everyone's eyes were fixed on it. It was a strange old gun with some writing on it. Amanda went closer, saying the word looked like it was in Roman language. Derek was astonished and asked if it could be part of a Roman ship. Derek began to ponder the meaning of the written word and suggested it was related to loot or pirates. Then the team found another item, an old silver bell with a map drawn on it. Most importantly, the map was of the very place where they were standing. This puzzle was getting more interesting. Sam read out a paragraph from an old book. It mentioned Silver 4920 and a dangerous pirate named Delmas Thomas. Sam explained that he was a slave who gradually became the most feared pirate of the seas. Hearing this, Derek was very excited because he felt they had found a clue to that pirate's treasure. But according to Jared, this wasn't just a pirate story. It was also connected to a French merchant named Ashwok. Jared explained that Ashwok was very rich, and when war broke out in France, he tried to escape by loading all his wealth onto a ship. But our pirate, Delmas Thomas, attacked his ship. Hearing this, everyone's faces lit up. Derek asked what the treasure would be worth today if they found it. Jared said it would be an amount they couldn't even imagine. If found, it would change all their lives. The next morning, everyone was planning to go back underwater, but this time, Jared made an excuse to stop Amanda from diving. Then, the team used metal detectors to scan underwater. The machine beeped faintly. Perhaps they had found the real path to the treasure. Underwater, everyone was clearing the soil from the spot. Meanwhile, Amanda was alone on the boat. She was marking the exact location on the map with every detail. Down below, Jared and Derek found a large cannon. It seemed to be part of the ship they were looking for. The cannon was so heavy that they planned to tie a rope to it and haul it up. Just then, Amanda saw a Coast Guard police boat approaching them. Below, Sam also sensed danger. Everyone's faces were filled with tension. If the police caught them illegally removing anything, everything would be confiscated. Now, Jared, Derek, and Sam hid underwater, waiting for the police to leave. But then another big problem arose. Jared's watch started beeping, meaning his oxygen tank was about to run out. They had no other option. They had to leave the cannon down there. As they released the air from the air-filled bags, Derek's hand suddenly got caught under the cannon, and he began to sink into the deep with it. The cannon hit the seabed hard, trapping Derek's hand underneath. On the boat, the Coast Guard came aboard to search their vessel. Amanda sat quietly so as not to arouse suspicion. Underwater, the oxygen of the people present was running low, and the cannon was too heavy to lift. Then, Sam and Jared exerted all their strength together and barely managed to free Derek's hand from under the cannon. Their oxygen was now gone. They quickly ascended and somehow survived. Everyone was exhausted, but at least they were alive. When the police found nothing on the boat, they left. That night, the four of them went to a nightclub. Amanda was dancing with full energy. Then, an old friend of Jared's approached and told him that some people were asking about him, and they didn't look like they were from the island. In the meantime, Derek got into a fight with a local goon. Jared dragged him out and said he didn't want any trouble right now. They were here to find treasure. The next morning, the team put on their diving gear again and went into the sea. But this time, they saw an unknown boat tied up alongside theirs. Jared and Derek exchanged a look. It was clear now that someone was following them. When they returned from the water, they saw two strange men had boarded their boat. Jared and Derek immediately chased after them. A fierce fight erupted between them. Somehow, Derek and Jared managed to overpower the two attackers. In the end, both assailants fled. But as one of them was running away, his cap fell off. Jared picked it up, and as soon as he read the name written on it, his expression changed. He took the cap to George and said, "This name belongs to your old company, doesn't it? Now you're sending goons after me." George laughed and said that many people had joined and left his company, so he couldn't remember everyone. Did he take responsibility for everyone? After a little more talk, he finally looked Jared in the eye and said, "I have money. I have time. What do you have? Only a dream." And with that, he left. In the evening, the team started planning again. Jared said with some tension, "We don't even have the right tools. How will we find the treasure?" Derek then suggested the idea of selling the packets of cocaine stuffed in the plane to buy equipment. Otherwise, George's people would take everything, and they would just watch, as they had neither money nor power. But even after hearing all this, Jared did not agree to the plan. However, that night, Derek secretly went to Amanda's room and told her everything. Then, the two of them went to the site. Derek jumped back into the water and retrieved the cocaine packets from the plane wreck. The next morning, Derek went straight to Prim, the owner of the same nightclub, the dangerous gangster with whom he had previously fought. A little later, Derek called Jared. When Jared reached the boat, Derek, Amanda, and Prim were already standing there with Prim's men. Prim angrily said, "You're stealing my goods and then coming to sell them to me? I am the boss of this island." He threw a bag in front of Derek. It contained the same cocaine packets that had been taken from the plane. Jared saw the bag and understood where Derek had gotten the cocaine. Now, the matter wasn't just about the treasure. Prim said, "I want those packets. I don't care where you got them from. If they aren't returned, things will go bad." Jared tried to explain, saying they had just found it all. But Prim was not ready to listen to anything. He pulled out a gun and pointed it straight at Jared's face. With the gun out, the whole game became a matter of life and death. But composing himself, Jared said, "We don't have anything. How can we bring it to you? We took it out of the sea. We need some tools and a big boat to get all the packets out." Prim then gave them the money for all the things they needed to complete the task. As he left, Prim threatened, "If my goods don't come back, I will kill the person you love the most." His men left the three of them back on the island. Back ashore, Jared's anger erupted. When Sam found out that Jared was caught up in a drug deal, she explicitly said, "I am not with you." On the other hand, with the money given by Prim, they bought a high-tech boat and the most advanced equipment. Jared then used some gadgets on this boat to send strong waves toward the seabed. Slowly, the soil began to clear, and the real wreckage became visible. The actual search for the treasure had now begun. Jared, Derek, and Amanda formed a team and got busy searching for the treasure. They found an old bell with SS Aura written on it. This was the ship they were tracking. Now they could legally file a claim on this treasure. But this treasure was not just gold and silver. Jared planned to dispose of the cocaine packets taken from the plane. They tied the packets with a rope and lowered them deep into the sea. Everything was going smoothly, but then a deadly moment arrived. Jared, standing on the boat, heard a strange noise from below. Without wasting time, he jumped into the water. Going down, he saw that a shark had attacked Amanda. Jared brought her up to the boat, but it was too late. Amanda had stopped breathing. At the hospital, the doctor confirmed that Amanda was dead. Derek was completely shattered. Then Sam came to meet Jared. But at that very moment, Prim called Jared. Prim asked, "Did you bring the packets?" Jared angrily replied that an accident had happened, and their friend had died in the process. Prim immediately got out of his car and started heading toward Jared. But Jared started his car and drove away. Prim and his men chased him, and a little distance later, Jared stopped the car and told Derek to take Sam home. After this, Jared met Prim's man, Finn. This time, Jared had a plan. He took Finn to a secret place and showed him the SS Aura ship's bell and the golden dagger. Finn knew that all this was 10 times more valuable than the cocaine. Jared was ready to give all of it to him, but on the condition that Finn would now work for him. Finn agreed, after which Jared and Finn reached Prim's boat. But everything went wrong. They found some dead bodies under the boat. Then George emerged from the bathroom, his hands stained with blood. He said Prim was trying to betray him, so he had to kill him and his men. When George tried to kill Jared, Jared cleverly jumped into the sea. George immediately ordered his men to find the man, dead or alive, but Jared had already planned. He hid in the lower part of the boat, and as soon as he got the right opportunity, he slipped away from everyone and went straight to Derek. He asked, "Where is Sam?" Derek said, "I left her with the police officer just as you told me to. I don't know after that." That evening, Jared received a call. It was George. George then said some things to Jared that revealed the entire truth. The police officer was also working with George. He had taken Sam straight to George. George threatened Jared that he wanted the location of the plane with the drugs, or Sam would die. Jared didn't have much time. He told George directly, "If you want the cocaine, meet me at the location I give you." George had no other option. He knew only Jared could lead him there. But then the police officer said, "My job is done. You go now, and I'll finish off Sam and dispose of her body." Hearing this, George suddenly shot the police officer. On the other side, Jared set out alone for the spot where he had called George. The only question in his heart was, is Sam still alive? When Jared reached the place, he was horrified. Sam was tied up on the ground, and the dead body of the police officer lay next to her. George once again threatened Jared. "You want Sam alive? Take me to the plane." Jared proposed, "Let's make a deal. You release Sam and I'll give you the entire ship's treasure." George happily agreed. They both went to the site in a boat. As soon as they arrived, Jared jumped into the water without wasting time. George, too, grabbed his waterproof gun and went after him with his men. Underwater, George found the old bell. Now he was completely convinced that this was the treasure site. Above, Sam was still tied up. But she dragged the dead body of the police officer and used a knife to cut the officer's hand off to free herself. Now her only way was to run away from there. Only one of George's men was standing guard on the boat. His attention was diverted by a motorboat passing nearby. Sam took the opportunity and escaped. Meanwhile, inside the plane, another one of George's men came looking for Jared. Jared and Derek both started to run, but the man fired a spear gun, and the spear hit Derek in the stomach. A rope was tied to the spear, which he used to start pulling him in. Jared immediately took out another spear and shot it straight into the man's face. As blood seeped out, the sharks in the sea attacked the man. His story ended right there. Now George tried to shoot Jared, but Jared used his mind. He inverted an oxygen cylinder. As George fired the spear, Jared used something to open the cylinder valve. The cylinder shot toward George like a missile. It hit the plane's fuel tank and a big explosion occurred. The whole plane became a ball of fire. 6 weeks later, the sea was completely calm, but the story wasn't over yet. Jared, Derek, Sam, and Denny set out on a new mission. They returned to the spot where the SS Arabelle was. This time, they started pulling the cannon up, but suddenly the rope broke and the cannon fell back into the deep sea. As it fell, the cannon hit a broken shipwreck. The impact shattered the old part of the ship, and a golden glimmer shone out from inside. And there, happiness was reflected in the eyes of Sam, Jared, and their entire team. Their hearts were pounding with excitement. They had finally found the treasure.
If you want interesting movie recaps, like, share, and subscribe to follow us for more movie recaps.